Hey, this video is going to be about The Last of Us and that episode 3. I'm just kind of giving my opinion on it, and I'm going to give you the gist of the story of The Last of Us. So, there's a fungus that attacks, controls, and kills people, just like the fungus in real life that attacks bugs and basically turns them into zombies. And since that's kind of scary, I'm going to skim over that. You can look it up if you want. But anyway, in the series, the fungus probably spread via grains and flour, and people consumed the wheat. Then the people became infected. The infected attacks the healthy humans, and the process starts all over again. The main story revolves around a man named Joel and this young girl, Ellie. Ellie seems to be immune to the virus, so Joel is first tasked with taking her somewhere where they can find a cure or a vaccine. This HBO show is actually based on a video game, which has been out for a while, and that's really the only way I know of The Last of Us is seeing ads for The Last of Us, watching some gameplay. So I will start out by saying I never played the game myself. I'm just going by the show itself. And I understand that a lot of fans of the game are probably upset over certain things, although I've heard that it did stick to some storylines pretty well. And the whole reason I'm doing this video is because there's been so much backlash over episode 3. And I really wanted to see for myself. And I intended on watching the show anyway, but after hearing about this episode, I'm like, okay, now I gotta see what all the fuss is about. I think what people were mostly upset over is they sat down to watch a horror show, a show about zombies, and they get thrown in this love episode out of nowhere. And it is kind of out of nowhere. But I'm going to give my opinion on that in just a minute. And I realize I call the creatures in this series zombies, and I might get in trouble because I know they're called clickers, but I refer to them as zombies. And I do have spoilers ahead. I will let you know when to turn off if you do not want to know what happens. If you don't care what happens, or if you already know, continue watching, but I will let you know when the spoilers are heading your way. One of the reasons I wanted to watch this episode was because it stars Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec. Actually, his name is Nick Offerman, but I call him Ron because that's how I know him. And episode 3 basically revolves around Bill, who is a prepper. He has everything he'll ever need. He believes in being self-reliant, self-efficient, having weapons, and pretty much knows how to live on his own, which comes in handy since he is going to live on his own. He was actually hiding out in his basement while the troops there were gathering people from the city and taking them elsewhere. And Bill leaves his basement. He realizes everyone's gone. And actually, while I think he took off the mask, I think that was more like, hey, I can breathe. I don't have to worry about wearing a mask. Nothing bad in the air. But I think it's also like, hey, my neighbors are gone. I'm the only one left in town. This is what I've lived for. This is what I've prepared myself for. Kind of like Kevin in Home Alone. He's like,
I made my family disappear.
And he was actually okay with it. So Bill then goes, fills up on gas, gets everything he needs, go to the Home Depot. And I'm just going to say this. He is very self-sufficient. And honestly, in end times, I do want him around. He might be kind of antisocial, but you know what? So am I. That's okay.
That was fast.
He comes back and he makes some booby traps around his house to make sure that nobody comes onto his property, living or dead, in my opinion. I think he's prepared for everything. There's one scene where Bill is eating dinner by himself, of course. Very nice dinner. He cooks very well. And he turns on TV and he's watching his security footage and he sees one of the zombies fall into his trap. And he just kind of like, shame. It's like he's watching a sitcom. I just love that part. Eventually, Bill meets Frank.
I'm not infected. I'm just trying to get to Boston.
Frank had fallen down in one of his booby traps and couldn't get out, so Frank gets him out. Long story short, they become a couple. So the story starts out, 20 years ago and builds up to our current time. So when this all begins, they might be 50-something years old, maybe, something like that. So at the end of the episode, they have aged 20 years. I'm not big on the big romantic, sappy, lovey-dovey movies. In fact, I actually made a video about romantic movies to watch that are romance movies. And but I will say that this really got to me because they got older, and older couples, that tugs at my heartstrings, I'll admit it. Okay, so this is where the spoilers come in, just a warning. And we skip ahead 10 years, and Frank has developed some sort of disease where he can't walk, he can barely use his arms, he can't feed himself. So one day, Frank tells Bill he's going to, and I'm going to cry. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Frank tells Bill,
Because this is my last day.
What if someone shows up who can help?
Who's coming, Bill? The door-to-door MRI salesman? There wasn't anything to cure this before the world fell apart. Come here. you love me?
Yes.
Then love me the way I want you to.
He said, what we're going to do, you're going to take me to the boutique. We're going to find some clothes. We're going to get married, and you're going to make me a great dinner. And you're going to chop up these pills and put them in my wine. You're going to take me to bed, and I'll fall asleep in your arms. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, yes. So it's a great episode. I understand people's gripe with it because it's in the middle of a zombie horror series. People didn't want to see that. I understand that. I would have been mad, too, except these are older guys, and like I said, older couples, that'll get to me. I am not going to cry on this, but I will tell you, it's very touching. It's sad, it's heartbreaking, and it's romantic. I understand where people are coming from. They're like, this is a horror show. This is about zombies and clickers and all that. But this is just one episode in the whole series. I'm sure not every episode is going to be a love story. And I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I cried my eyes out. I feel dehydrated. But I do encourage you to watch it. You might not like it, but it's a really great episode in my opinion. And at the end of the episode, Bill tells Frank that he has no desire to continue on without him. And I kind of saw that coming, but when it happened, oh, man. So I'll show you the scene.
Why are there already pills in the bottle?
Enough to kill a horse. I'm old. I'm satisfied. And you were my purpose.
So that's my opinion on the episode. I'm sorry if this video was kind of a downer, but I really wanted to put my opinion out there in case you were like me and you were thinking, man, what are they going to do? Is this going to be a love story? It's a really great show. I promise you, it's a great episode. I've really enjoyed the whole series so far, and I think you will too if you love horror and action. You know, this is one episode that's just a little bit slower, but it's still a really great episode. And I just want to put my 2 cents out there, whether or not anybody asked for it, there it is. And again, I'm going into this, cold. I know the basic story of the video game, but again, I've never played it, so I'm just taking the series on HBO as just the series in a whole new universe, and I can't really compare it to the video game. So if you're a hardcore fan, you might not like the series. I understand how that is. There's a book I really love, for instance, and they change it too much in the show or the movie, I'll be upset about it. But I will tell you, it's worth the watch. So don't be worried about this episode ruining anything. I mean, if you want to skip it, go on and skip it, but I'm telling you, it's a really good episode. So I'd really like to hear your comments. What did you think about the series in comparison to the game or the series by itself? And what did you think of this particular episode? I really love to hear it down in the comments. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye.